Hey guys, welcome to the SimRacingPaddock. I'm William Marsh, and this is our review on the Buttkicker Gamer 2 Tactile Transducer and Amplifier combo. So the idea behind a Buttkicker or a Tactile Transducer, Sim Shaker, whatever you want to call it, is that while sim racing through force feedback gives you a good feeling of the steering wheel, you are missing out a bit on the seat of the pants feeling. So you take a low frequency emitter and mount it onto a cockpit, and that can give you a simulated seat of the pants feeling. Now, it's not going to throw you around like a motion rig or something like that, but you get that rumbling of the engine, you get that kick in the pants while you're shifting gears, and that can add an extra level of depth and immersion to a sim racer. So specifically, we are going to be looking at one of the entry-level shakers, which is the Buttkicker Gamer 2. And you get the Buttkicker Gamer 2, and you also get the BKA 130C amplifier. So this is an amplifier, obviously, and it's a single channel amp, which gives you the output through to the Buttkicker. And the Buttkicker, it has the banana plugs. So if you look here, that says negative. So you get the idea. This lump on the bottom, I'm guessing it's to handle EMI or something. You plug it in like so into the back. And then this RCA, you get an RCA to mini 3.5 millimeter connector. And you plug that into here. And then the other end into your computer. And that gives your input. That gives the input signal to the Buttkicker for the games. So you can use this Buttkicker in a way that allows you to have it without any external software. So that would make it set up in a way that it's essentially like a subwoofer. It'll take the low frequency sounds from the sim and shake your seat. It's okay, but with that, it starts feeling a little gimmicky. Now, there are different software solutions like SimVibe, SimShaker, and SimRacing Studio that allow you to actually take the data from the sim and translate it into the Buttkicker to give you a far more authentic experience. For my testing, I've been using SimVibe, and then later I'll talk about some of the other solutions in a future video. But realistically, you're going to want SimVibe with this Buttkicker. That authentic experience really does flesh it out in a way that you don't get with the stock experience. SimVibe can be a little tricky to set up at first, but once you do, it is a majorly rewarding experience. But let's not just talk about it, let's get this in action. So for this testing, I am driving an iRacing. I'm using the Volkswagen Beetle GRC race car around the Sonoma Raceway Rallycross circuit. One reason I wanted to do this combination specifically is because it has both on-road and off-road, and you get to experience that with the Buttkicker. As mentioned earlier in this review, I'm not a fan of the Buttkicker using the stock non-software settings. So I have SimVibe running right now. Realistically, to get the most out of the Buttkicker, you're going to either want SimVibe or SimShaker or something similar to that running in the background. And SimVibe, it offers a great variety of options. I have engine vibration, gear changes, impact, road bumps, road texture enabled, and it really does augment the experience. If you're running the Buttkicker stock, it's more just like a subwoofer. It'll respond to low frequency. But with SimVibe, it actually responds to what the car is doing. So I'm idling right now. I'm feeling a very subtle vibration. I rev up, and it gets a little more substantial. You feel the engine revving up. You shift up, you feel that kick in the seat of your pants from the transmission. You roll off, you feel the road texture. So SimVibe and other utilities, they are taking the data from the sim and translating it into real tactile feedback. And it adds a lot of depth to the experience. If you've never driven with a SimVibe before, it's tough to describe, but you get that seat of the pants feeling that it's kind of missing from a sim setup. It feels really good. You feel that rumbling, and I'm gonna call this opening Pandora's box. Once you get one tactile transducer, you are going to want a second. I'm already planning on trying to get a second one for underneath the pedals to get that more engine-like setup, and then customizing it in SimVibe to be able to simulate more of the front of the car. So you can do that in SimVibe, and I'm looking forward to doing that. But that jump, you feel the landing. You actually are feeling the landing, and it's a good feeling. The main pro of the Buttkicker Gamer 2 is you really get that added depth. You really get that extra dimension of feedback, and it really is immersive. And if I turn off SimVibe right now, it would feel downright empty in comparison. I've only been driving with it for a few days, but it's already become ingrained in my driving. It's already become something that's natural. That's one of the best parts. It feels natural. It feels authentic. It feels fun. And I'm not the only one to think that. Check out this small clip from Brian driving. So what are your thoughts on this Buttkicker?
Totally changes the... Okay, for a noob like myself, I'll be honest, it makes the experience a whole lot more realistic when you turned it up. Dang it. It makes the crashes seem a whole lot more real.
So yeah, the Buttkicker, it adds this extra dimension of depth to the feedback, which I bet could be a good saying for it if Thrustmaster didn't already trademark that name. Go figure. But yeah, so that really does add this extra level of immersion and depth to it, which is awesome. Another pro is it can be relatively simple to install. It can be relatively simple to set up and get running. And you can adjust it to what you want. Granted, if you're using SimVibe or SimShaker, where you can really flesh out your experience. You can flesh out what you want to feel. If you are different like me and want to set it up differently, you have full free reign to do that. And that's one of the great things. You can customize it to feel what you want and still get that immersion factor out of it. Now let's get to one or two of my cons. The main con I have is this can be slightly difficult to mount onto a rig. Quite a few rigs have their own Buttkicker mounts available as of right now, but for example, I had to buy a $25 Buttkicker Gamer 2 mount, and I bought that from Rickmatech. Works great, but that's an extra cost that you will need to factor in if you're using some rigs like I am that don't have a Buttkicker mount. Another con I have is that you aren't really going to get the best experience unless you buy a third-party software. So, as mentioned, this can be run without software, but it isn't going to be the best experience. You are going to basically only be feeling the low frequencies. It's not truly going to be responding to what the car is doing, and it might just feel more gimmicky than anything. SimVibe is great, but it's also a $90 software. So that is one thing to take into consideration. To get the most out of it, you're going to be paying more. So the question is, do I recommend the Buttkicker Gamer 2? And it's tough because in terms of the Buttkicker technology, in terms of the shaker, I say absolutely. It adds so much to this sim racing experience. It really adds that extra layer of depth, and I think once you start driving with it, you're not gonna want to stop with it. When you drive without a butt kicker or a shaker, you are going to feel like you're missing out. So that, for the shaker, I'd say absolutely. For the Buttkicker Gamer 2, I'd say that's a bit of a tougher sell, because the amp only allows you to put one on, and also you have to likely find a different solution for mounting it, which is a little less than ideal. For sim racing, the Buttkicker Gamer 2 is not the best solution, but the technology is definitely incredible for sim racing. For most sim racers, I would say a single butt kicker is not the best solution. It's a tricky situation. I'd call it like Pandora's box. Once you get one butt kicker, you're likely going to want to get more, and I would highly recommend that you prepare for that. I'd say maybe look into getting the Buttkicker Tactile Transducers and maybe a 4-channel amplifier so you can make the most of your butt kicker experience. So these are my thoughts on the Buttkicker Gamer 2. I would love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about it? Do you have your own shaker setup? What is it like? Let us know in the comments. Also, if you like this video, please hit that like and subscribe button and help keep us on track. For the SimRacingPaddock, I'm William Marsh, and you have a great rest of your day.